welcome to my YouTube channel Purpose, where we are going through the Bible and reading the stories and just trying to figure out how to live our lives, how to love each other and love God the way we're supposed to. And it has been a while since I've made a video, and I apologize for that. Life just kind of came up and got crazy, and I got out of the habit of making them. And the longer I stayed away from making these videos, the easier it became to just say, who's really watching them? Who cares if Molly makes a video about the Bible or not? And I just started doubting myself on whether, it was worth it, whether anybody cared, whether anybody was going to watch it. And then I realized it doesn't really matter if anybody watches it or not. I think God wants me to do it, and so I need to do it. I don't make these videos to be a big YouTube sensation or anything like that. I make them because I think God might want me to do it, because maybe one person's going to watch one video and it'll help them in their lives. So if you enjoy these videos, maybe send it to somebody, share it with somebody in your family who you think might benefit from it, might get closer to God. Who knows, it might help them. And I left off on the biggest plague yet. We were talking about the 10 plagues that hit Pharaoh in Egypt. We're on Exodus chapter 12. And we're on the biggie, the 10th plague, the last plague. And me getting away from doing these videos, it's kind of like reading the Bible. They say that the hardest part about reading the Bible is opening it up. Just sitting down to take the time to do it. So I, for a while now, have been saying, I'm just going to read the Bible 15 minutes every night. At least 15 minutes before I go to bed at night. That's not a lot of time, I'm not changing my whole lifestyle. But you'd be shocked at how many nights I don't want to do it. I'm tired. I just want to go to bed. I don't want to read something I don't understand. Right now I'm reading the Psalms. Don't understand those most of the time. And Isaiah. Don't understand him most of the time. But I don't have to understand it. I'm doing it for God. I'm telling him thank you. Thank you, God. So, same way with these videos. So we left off here on the last plague, the 10th plague. And these plagues are not a punishment that God is doing to Pharaoh and to Egypt. The plagues are consequences. Consequences of living a life that doesn't include God. Our lives have consequences when we don't let God into it. And this plague is so cool because it really connects the Old Testament with the New, with Jesus. The New Testament doesn't replace the Old Testament. It fulfills it. It completes it. Jesus completes the Old Testament. So this next plague is how the Passover started. The Jewish people still today celebrate the Passover. It's one of, if not the biggest celebration that they have, bigger even than Hanukkah. So what happened was, God's been telling Moses, you go tell Pharaoh, let my people go. And Pharaoh keeps saying, yeah, no, y'all aren't leaving. Because he didn't want to lose his free slaves, his people who are building these cities and these roads. He was so concerned with his stuff and his power. And the fact that nobody's going to tell me what to do. No, God is going to tell me what to do. He was so wrapped up in that it didn't matter how much him and his people were suffering. He wasn't going to let him go. So God told him, here's what you're going to do. Moses, you go and tell all of the Jewish nation, everybody, that they have to get a lamb, an unblemished male lamb. And on, I think it was the 10th day of the month, there's a lot of rules God's given them. He's given them very exact directions, just like he gives us very exact directions. You have to get an unblemished, no marks on it, male lamb. On the 10th day of the month, you're going to bring it into your home, live with this little lamb. They're going to start to really get to know him and love him. And then you're going to sacrifice him. Lamb's going to be killed. You're going to roast it. And then he's very exact on how much you can have. No leftovers. You can't waste any. If you're a family of only 2 or 1, then you go and you share with somebody else because there's not going to be any left over. No wasting here with God. And then he said, take the blood of the lamb, and using a hyssop branch, some kind of a tree or a bush, I don't really know which, but it's a branch and it's got leaves on it. You're going to dip that in the blood, and you're going to put it on the lintel, the top of the door, each side, and on the doorpost. You're going to make a cross with the blood on this door. They're making a cross. Jewish people didn't know what a cross was. Jesus hadn't been on the cross. You're going to use the blood of the lamb, make a cross on the door. Isn't that cool? And the hyssop branch, if you remember, jump all the way to the New Testament with Jesus on the cross when he was being crucified and he was thirsty. They dipped some vinegar with a hyssop branch and reached up to him with a hyssop branch to give him a drink. I don't know what all that means, but it means something. So that's what they did. They got the lamb, they roasted it, they put the blood on the door, and God told them, when the angel of death comes, because death is coming, all the firstborn males in the land are going to be killed that night if they don't have that blood on their door. The firstborn was all their hopes and dreams. Firstborn lamb, firstborn calf, firstborn goat, firstborn male son. Doesn't matter how old you are. If you were the firstborn male, you were going to die that night unless you had the blood on your doorpost. Death is coming for everybody. It's coming for me. It's coming for you. It's coming for everybody sooner or later. Nobody has gotten out of dying yet. In all the millions of years people have been on this earth, nobody has beat death yet other than Jesus. It's coming for everybody. And unless we have the blood of Christ on us in baptism, we will die. We need to have God in our life. We need to have Jesus in our heart. How do you do that? You just hang out with him, just talk to him. You know, go to church, get baptized, of course, but then that doesn't guarantee anything. You have to have a relationship with God. He's a real person. He wants to know us. He wants to talk to us. We need a relationship with him. But anyway, back to the Jewish people. So they did that, and God told them, you be ready. You have your staff in hand, your loin girded or something, you know, your belt on tight, sandals on your feet. And when I tell you to go, you're going to go. And all the Egyptians, they're just going to be throwing money at you. Go, here, take our silver, take our gold, take our jewels. And that is what happened. When the time came that God started to kill all the firstborn males, all their hopes, all their dreams were dying, because our hopes and dreams aren't ours, they're God's. You know, I have hopes and dreams, but God knows the big picture, not me. So I've got to try to give my hopes and dreams to him, which is tough because I really want my hopes and dreams to come true. So anywho, God said, you need to get out of here, skedaddle. So they got all their stuff, their dough. You know, you couldn't buy bread at the store. The women at night would put their dough out to rise, so in the morning they could make the breakfast and the lunch and all that kind of stuff. Their dough wasn't even risen. They had to grab it and run, and it hadn't risen, which is why Jewish people eat unleavened bread during the Passover. So anyway, you can imagine the screaming, the wailing, the crying. It had to be terrible. People were devastated. And some of the Jewish people, if they didn't put that blood on their doorpost, if they weren't saying, I believe in God, I trust God, God is going to protect me, then they died too. Their firstborn died too. And it couldn't have been easy to put that blood up there. You know, that was a slap in the face to Pharaoh and the Egyptians, because you're saying, I don't trust you, I trust God. So, what they did was very brave. And at midnight, all the firstborn males died, and all of the Egyptians, including Pharaoh, said, "Go. Here's our gold, here's our silver, here's everything. You just go." And they took off. And I always thought, it was a few dozen people. 600,000. 600,000 men, plus women and children. That didn't even include them. It could have been 1 million people left. That's a lot of people. They're going to make a huge path. This is not an easy undertaking. How's Moses going to feed them all? They're in a desert. It's not like there's a lot of food that they can gather up. But they all took off. They took their cattle, their flocks, their herds. They took everything, and they took off. And they trusted in God. And so off they went, and they're headed, they don't know where. And God said to Moses, "Consecrate to me all the firstborn, whatever opens the womb among the sons of Israel. Everything is going to be mine now, and you have to circumcise your sons as a sign that you belong to God." So God's saying, he just took all these firstborn males. I want you to give me your hopes and dreams, your firstborn males. I want you to give me all your hopes and dreams. Trust in me. Trust in me. Think about your own hopes and dreams. You really want that. I really want my dreams to come true. I really want my hopes to come true. They may not. It's not up to me. It's up to God. He knows the big picture. I don't. And so from that day until now, the Jewish people celebrate Passover as a way to tell God, thank you for saving us. Thank you for getting us out of Egypt. And now the Jews are headed toward the land of Canaan, the land of milk and honey. And that's us. We are those Jews on that journey to the land of Canaan. Canaan is Eden. They're trying to get back to Eden. They're trying to get back to God. They don't know God. They have gotten far away from God. They act more Egyptian than Hebrew, than Jewish at this point. And on that journey to the land of Canaan, God's going to try to teach them how to love him, how to trust him. And he's going to start by saying, give me all your hopes and dreams. All your firstborn are going to be consecrated to me. And you're going to circumcise the males. And he didn't leave them alone. He went in front of them as a cloud of smoke in the day and a pillar of fire at night. He led them out. And he never left them. And he doesn't leave us. He's with us. We don't see him. But he's right here with us every second. And so what God is trying to tell the Jews, their very first lesson, is to put all your hope and trust in God. Even when life turns upside down, and it can turn upside down just like that. We all know that. You're going along great one day, and the next day, see if I can do it. Hey, I did it. Upside down. We still have to hope and trust in God. Even when we're not getting what we want. Even when we're crying our eyes out. Even when people we love get sick or get hurt or die. Oh, my clock's stinging. I'm sorry. It must be, what time is it? It must be 11 o'clock. You're going to hear 11 dings. I'm sorry about that. Probably should have looked at the clock before I started the video. But the number one lesson God is teaching these Jewish people on their road to him, their journey to try to learn more about God, is to give me all your hopes and dreams and trust in me. Even when things aren't turning out the way you want, keep that faith, keep that hope, keep that trust. How can we do that? We can't unless we have a relationship with him. We can't. You can't trust in God when things are going wrong. You can't give all your hopes and dreams to God especially when you're not getting them, unless you have a relationship with him. How do we have a relationship with him? Go to church, get baptized, talk to him every day, every morning when you wake up, at breakfast, at lunch, at supper, before you go to bed at night. Take just a few minutes to say, thank you for this day, God. Thank you. Thank you. And then look at things that might not be going right and say, I trust you. I give this to you and I trust you, God. If we can learn to trust him with the little things, then when the big things happen, it'll be a lot easier. Well, next time we get together, and there will be a next time, I will make another video. We're going to find out, did Pharaoh just let them go? Did they make it to the land of Canaan? What happened to the Jewish people? We're going to find out. Well, I hope you all just have the best day today, and I hope all of your hopes and dreams do come true. But if they don't, I pray that you trust God and that you tell him, you know the bigger picture, God, not me. Have a great day today, everybody. Bye-bye.